Very good morning. It's Monday, the 22nd of March, 2021. You're watching This Boring Sod on YouTube again, and thank you very much for joining me. How you doing? So today's title, trending transport production high, soft 16 high. Good morning. Is Monday again a whole lot of meh? And there's a reason, Patrice, what's happening? And there's a reason why it's a lot of meh. It's because it's the same old thing, really. Every now and again, we'll get something in the news which is slightly different, but it's pretty much the same old thing. Bristol fight, exactly. Going to be talking about that at some point this morning. But it gets on my nerves just a little bit because I find that I lose track of the days very often. Durham bus driver, good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. Look at this, is lovely. Good morning. I wish everyone has an absolutely fantastic Monday morning because you have a good Monday, it starts you off for the rest of the week. But for me, it's currently meh because if it wasn't for the fact that I do this and I have to check what day of the week it is, I genuinely wouldn't know. Even though my kids go to school Monday to Friday, I still lose track of what day it is, roughly Wednesday. As I start thinking, is it Wednesday or Tuesday? Hang on a minute, is it Thursday or Wednesday? Do we have Wednesday already? I lose track. But anyway, let's move on to what's happening at the moment. So I've got a little bit of a list of things that's happening in the world today. First and foremost is a year of lockdown, a year since Boris Johnson said, we're going to close schools and national lockdown and like that, basically. So it's been a year, and we've had 3 lockdowns along with tiered systems and mixed restrictions. And to this day, I still believe that if people had followed the rules initially, give me 1 second, just have a missed call from my dearly beloved. Let me just send her a message. Doing a live, my love. There we go. As we go. But I'm a firm believer that if people had followed the rules and the law in the first lockdown, we wouldn't have seen the second peak. Or if we did see the second peak, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as bad. That's the first thing, is people were too complacent the first time round and didn't believe what was going on. So I'm blaming people for that. Secondly, I'm blaming the government because they went into lockdown way too late. Way too late. I mean, I think my mum and dad, or my mum in particular, had COVID-19 in the December before it was actually announced officially as a pandemic in this country. But it was known about. And my mum had this horrible cough that was never easing up. She had it for over a month. And I found this quite distressing because I'd recently come out of hospital in 2019 November. And I remember I couldn't see my mum. I couldn't see my mum. I couldn't see my mum because she was ill. And obviously at that time, having such a low immune system, I couldn't be around anyone that was ill, whether it was a cold or anything. So that took a long time for my mum to get over that. And I believe that was COVID-19. So it was here long before it was actually officially diagnosed and such. But the thing is, we knew about it in January. We knew about it in January, going into February, and alarm bells should have been ringing back then. And I believe I said all the way back then, we need to close our borders. Close the borders. All non-essential travel, stop non-essential travel. Keep freight going, keep goods coming in and out of the country. That can be disinfected, not a problem. But stop non-essential travel. Close the borders is what I said. No, no one listened to that. You know, I said, put it into lockdown, I said. And then a lockdown happens. But it was too little, too late. Yeah, my family's all right. This is before year before. I'm talking about December 2019. You see, so I was saying we need to lock it down long before there was a lockdown. And then obviously lockdown happened and it wasn't enough. We should have been using army. There should have been hardware on the ground. There should have been checkpoints between towns and villages, making sure that you're not doing non-essential travel and then sending you home if you were. Um, so there's that. I believe any of our lockdowns haven't been strict enough at all. And then, so no, so it's been a year of that on and off. You've also got this new symptom of COVID deafness. So you can lose your sense of hear, taste, sense of smell. I can vouch for that because that happened to me. And apparently now, loss of hearing is another one for COVID symptoms and symptoms of long COVID. So, keep an ear out for that one. So you got that. Good morning, Luton Bus Spotter. Good morning, Sam Stephen. Good morning, absolutely everyone that's joining me this morning. Got 11 viewers this morning. Really 13 playbacks. Oh, nice. So there's that. And we're going to move on to the Bristol thing that's happening next on my little list of things to talk about. Because I haven't done a lot of reading on what's going on here, but they're calling it Kill the Bill. And what I believe it's a non-permanent bill to suspend all protests during pandemic times. I believe that's what it is anyway. Because protesting is a non-essential illegal gathering of people, is what it is essentially. Bearing in mind, we were all told not to meet up in groups at all during lockdown. And this is meeting up with other people in a group. It's a non-essential gathering. I'm all for protest, peaceful protest. I'm all for it. However, at this time, just follow the rules and stop being such a bitch about it. That's what it comes down to. And it's also a case of having a lot of animosity towards the police. And yet you're digging your own grave in that respect, because the second you start being violent and attacking police is when we start needing more police. See what's happening there? There's people that bitch about the police and policing of peaceful protests, and then when you start acting like a dick, the police start doing what their job is, which is literally throwing their weight around and arresting people that are stupid. So, it's you're moaning about something that you're causing. At the end of the day, you've got these anti-lockdown protests where all I see are COVID-idiots. You see, I don't understand it. I saw anti-lockdown protests walking past bus drivers doing that. Yes, bus driver, yeah. With the bus driver sticking their arm out the window going, yeah, respect. No, don't touch people. These people clearly have no respect for COVID-19 and have no fear of it. They don't really care if they get ill or pass it on to anyone. And you're there touching people. Ugh. That is this. Sorry, I'm sorry. With all the best will in the world, I don't like touching people before COVID. I don't like touching people now even more. Don't touch people. Ugh. So there's that. But the Bristol protest, I think that's just a massive shame. It is absolutely disgusting, and it shows me the worst in humanity, really. Because if you can be that aggressive and violent towards laws that are there to protect people, and the people that are there to protect you, then what hope have we got, really? So there's that. I want to move on now, because I've done a little bit of a list this morning to save me waffling on too much. I want to talk about the EU blocking AstraZeneca vaccine or Pfizer vaccine, whatever the vaccine may be. The EU are blocking vaccine from coming over to this amazing nation. And it's got to a point where we could end up 2 months behind on the vaccine rollout. Now, to me, this just spanks of thank God we left the EU. Because if we'd still been in the EU, there's a good chance we wouldn't have had even a quarter of the vaccinations done as what we actually have got done now. And the amount of vaccine we'd have in this country would be a lot less than what it is now. So because the EU have a massive shortfall in vaccine rollout and many different European nations are actually hitting a third peak at the moment. Italy, France in particular. They're thinking, well, you know what? Balls to the UK. They left our amazing conglomerate of bullshit. Let's just keep from them what they've already paid for. Let's break their contract and not send them what they've already paid for. And let's play with people's lives and pretty much hold the nation to ransom for whatever the reason may be. European Union for you. Bullies. Always have been, always will be. So that's all I'm saying on that. I'm sick of that. But with the AstraZeneca vaccine, even with these very, very small amount, I'm talking a small, like 5 accounts of blood clotting, which I just want to put it out there, isn't an unusual thing. Many people have blood clots for many different reasons. It could just very well be a massive coincidence that these people were prone to having blood clots or would have had blood clots anyway, and they happen to have the vaccine. There's no proof to say that this is caused by the vaccine. If there is, show me, and then I'll read it, and then if it's there, I'll believe it. But apparently, the vaccine gives you, I think on a first dose, 79% protection from it, which is fantastic. But the best thing about it, the AstraZeneca one, is it gives 100% protection against severe illness, which means if you have that vaccine, you will not die from COVID-19. That's amazing. I'm not even sure if the Pfizer one can claim that. I mean, I had the Pfizer jab, but there we go. But that's fantastic, isn't it? You know, 100% will prevent you from dying if you have the AstraZeneca jab. Amazing, amazing, amazing times we're living in. Science is an amazing thing. And moving on again, because we're moving on with things. I'll read this wonderful lot in a sec. I want to talk about Australia because I feel for my Australian cousins, not actual cousins, but my fellow human, my brothers and sisters across the pond and the other pond and the other pond, literally on the other side of the world, down here somewhere. I feel for you if you live in Australia, because this time last year, over 1 billion animals died in fires across Australia. An area the size or bigger than the UK was turned to ash. And it wasn't just animals. Obviously, 1 billion animals did perish in that fire or those fires. But people lost their lives. People lost their homes. People lost family members and livelihoods. And it destroyed a lot. A year ago, Australia was going through an absolute this horrible time. And I feel for them. Now, exactly a year on, it's gone to the exact opposite, where they're experiencing floods of biblical proportions. I was half expecting a massive boat full of animals to be going across the screen, but you know, I managed to see a church and a house float by. You know, I mean, it's almost like Australians are going to say, "Do you know what, Sheila? What's that, Bruce? I'm sick of this country. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to build the house out of brick so it doesn't fucking burn. And what we're going to do is on the bottom of the house, we're going to put about 100 different inflatable dinghies, all attached to a pump system, so that when we do have the flood, we'll launch that and then the house can float without getting flooded. You know, and the reason why I'm doing a really shit Australian accent is because when you talk, you have to go a little bit higher and everything has to sound like a question. Like that. You know, it's almost like when you speak in Australian, you have to throw the odd H in a word. So it's like, if you're English, you'll say car. I'm saying car. Although if I'm Australian, I say car. With almost like a H after the C. Car. I bought a new car. What car did you buy? a Toyota Prius. It's really bad. It's really bad. If you're from Australia, I do apologise. I love Australians. I love the accent. Believe it or not, I'd love to go and visit your amazing country. I really would. We're not going to save that. Let me read some of these comments. I really appreciate everyone joining me this morning. 17 viewers. That's actually quite a lot for me. I really do appreciate everyone joining me this morning. So let's read these comments. And I really, really do like reading comments. How's your day? This is Trending Transport. Every day just feels the same now. I've been losing track of days as well, says Kieran Gallagher. Soft16 says water cannon should be used in London for these demonstrations, lockdown enforcement. As much as I agree with that, they're never going to use that because that would be seen as excessive force. Although I actually do think using water cannon is a better alternative than putting people's lives at risk by getting police officers pelted with God knows what and setting their vans on fire. Bring the green goddesses out. If those of you that don't know what the green goddesses are, do a little Google search. Bring the green goddesses out. Bring the army out. Literally, water cannon everyone. Or better yet, you can actually get sound cannons that go, no, just send out this really, really horrible sonic. There. I'm losing my words, but basically it's uncomfortable hearing. You're going to get heat cannons. It literally fires a beam of microwaves in people's direction. It won't cook you, but it's that uncomfortable that you don't want to be standing in the way. You know, just do something to get people out of the way. And the thing is, people learn the hard way. They do. They'll look back at these protests in years to come and think, oh, shit, what a dickhead I was like, eh? Not that everyone's from Manchester. Oh, fucking shite. Excuse my language. I do apologise for the potty mouth at this time in the morning. It's not even 9 o'clock. It's 8:55. So there we go. Your beard is starting to grow well. Yes, it is. I've been noticing that as well. Let's see what this week will bring. Schools went back a bit too early. Should have kept them closed till Easter was over. Durham bus driver, I don't know about that because I think kids needed the interaction with their teachers. They can't just be at home homeschooling the whole time. It's difficult for them. And the thing is I know the schools are doing well with. I mean, look at these boxes. Just hang on, there. Those blue boxes are lateral flow tests. You can order these from the NHS website. It's amazing, and they're free. You can order them frequently. You can literally test. There's 7 in a box. You could test yourself every day of the week. Order a new box and they turn up a day or 2 later. It's amazing. And schools are testing their students, and we're testing our kids before sending them in as well once a week. So we're doing our bit, and I would assume at this point that other parents and other schools are doing the same thing. So there's no real excuse for people not to get tested, really. You can literally get tested at home yourself by ordering these kits. They're relatively simple. So there's that. I feel sorry for you, Chris, and your mum. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Now, my family's okay. This is a long time ago. This is before COVID. You see, they had COVID before it was announced. Because it was in this country to start with. Not to start with, let me rephrase that. It was in this country long before it was diagnosed. It just wasn't picked up on. So there's that. The government reacted far too late. It's quite embarrassing, really, says Jack Hammond. Yes, Jack, I agree. I agree. And just throwing this out there, I did actually say nearly a year ago, I think it was April or May time last year, that by April this year, April, May, we'd be looking at 129,000 deaths in this country. Look at what the numbers are. Yet again, Chrissy Boy done it, called the numbers, and I'm also predicting either an extension to our current lockdown or another lockdown come June into July. That's what I'm predicting. Either an extension, a massive extension, or another lockdown. That's what I'm predicting. So keep your eyes peeled on that one, boys and girls. That'll be quite interesting to see what happens there. I've picked up a load of passengers doing non-essential travel on buses 2, 3, 4 hours at a time. Can't challenge them. Yeah, I know, and this is difficult because I'm obviously not at work at the moment. Um, I wouldn't be comfortable having a full bus. I can tell you that. I'm not. It's not my job to say to people whether or not their travel is essential or not. They might be doing their shopping, for example. They might be taking something to an elderly person. They might be going to a hospital appointment. I understand that. I get that. I'm not going to challenge people based on where they're going. I would challenge people if it got to a point where I was uncomfortable with how full my bus was. So, God, these glasses are wonky. I need a new pair. So it would get to a point where if my bus was getting to capacity or over capacity, and I say to people, look, I'm terribly sorry, I can't take you on, the bus is full, and people get on anyway, nah, sorry, that's where I draw the line. It's not just safety for me, it's safety for you, it's safety for my other passengers. You are going to have to leave and get on a different bus. That's where I would draw the line. Don't be rude with it by any means. These glasses are so bad. Um, I won't wear them because they're dirty. Um, but that's where I draw the line. Obviously, for all my colleagues out there that may or may not be, but may be watching this, if you are in that situation, the best thing to do is not argue with people. As it says in the handbook when challenging for fares before, be firm but polite. Yeah, that's all it takes is be firm but polite. Um, Use manners. Explain to people why you can't take them on. Look, I'm terribly sorry, the bus is at capacity. For health and safety reasons, you are going to have to leave the bus and get a different bus. Oh, but I've paid my bus fare already. Okay, fine, not a problem. Here's a transfer ticket. Push the button, ticket comes out. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Don't argue with people. Be firm, fair, and polite, but do not have your bus overcrowd. It's not just for your benefit, it's for their benefit and the rest of your passengers' benefit. It just do the right thing. Be professional about it, but keep it safe for everyone. Kiss ass. Keep it safe and simple. Always said that. It's the same with driving, the same with customer service. Kiss ass. Keep it safe and simple. You got that. Also, Boris was shaking hands this time last year and missed 5 Cobra meetings, says Transport Hub. Yes, yeah, I've been to hospitals and I've been shaking people's hands. And my name's Boris Johnson. What a knob. What I can't test my what? What I can't test my eyesight. Soft 16. I'm a little bit confused about that. Listening to you is listening to you like a podcast on my walk, says Stan Stephen. You know what? I was actually considering doing a podcast. I really was. And I have got a few people lined up I want to talk to. It's just as and when they are available, because some of them are in the States. And obviously the time difference is dependent on where they are in the States. So if I've got a friend of mine that lives in New York, that's a 5-hour gap. You see, if I have a friend of mine that lives on the West Coast, then obviously that's a 8 or 9 hour gap, or more. So it's difficult because for me, being late in the evening might be good for them, or being good for them might be difficult for me. So it's difficult. I'm trying to turn it into a podcast, but we'll wait and see. I've always said the good way to do a live is to not waffle so much, and I've really lost touch on that recently. But try to have flow. Try and know what you're going to speak about before you say it. So there is that. Good morning, Chris. Hope you're okay, says Sarah's random video. Sarah, I'm very well today. I am. I've got a cup of coffee going cold. I'm wearing the Real Talk t-shirt. Loving a bit of that. Ooh, like a bit of that. Turismo, very nice. Mercedes are my favourite bus manufacturer. Why is that there? Okay, got a Mercedes-Benz Turismo coach on my local route instead of a street light, but I ain't got work early today. So I want a 20 plate Turismo. Gotcha. I've never driven a Mercedes bus ever. I really do want to try and drive a Mercedes bus just to see what they're like. Um, but saying that, I do miss my Boris bus. I do miss driving on my Route 12. I can't wait to get back to work, and it should be happening hopefully towards the end of April. I want to get back to work so bad. Um, I bet they're the same people who moan at the police, don't rush to their elderly nan who just been robbed because because they weren't the resources because the police had to deal with these idiots. Yeah, very true. Jack Cameron says, I had COVID in January. Sorry to hear that. Clearly you've recovered. It's absolutely horrible. It really annoys me that a year on, people still don't think it's real or take it seriously. Jack, I agree with you. There are COVIDiots everywhere. And whenever I see people out on the street, I think of The Sixth Sense, the movie. You've probably seen it. The iconic scene where the kid goes... The kid doesn't vape, by the way, but the kid goes... I see dead people. Like that. It's cold. I see dead people. Yeah, so do I. Walk in the street with no mask on. So there's that. I was lucky I have passed my test. I full waffled. Yeah, you'll be all right. You'll be all right passing your test waffling. That's fine. I failed my driving test on the buses twice, believe it or not. The first time I was stitched up because there's a reversing maneuver where you have to take the bus and you have to, like reverse it up to a line. Like, hang on. So say if we're starting, this is difficult to reverse for me. Say if we're here, right? You have to reverse the bus up to a certain point, up to a line without going over the line, without hitting the cones. Yeah? And then you have to move the bus into a different position, then reverse back into a spot and keep the back of the bus within a certain area. Now, the first part of that maneuver wasn't set up for a bus on my my first test. It was actually set up for a car towing a trailer. So the whole setup was smaller. So obviously I hit the cone that was directly behind the bus, and it was unavoidable, 100% unavoidable. And I went around the entire test perfectly. And then the instructor said to me, I'm sorry to say, but you failed on this occasion. I said, yeah, I know I hit that cone. He said, yeah, but that cone could have been a child. Yeah, I'm aware of that. And then he said, I've already done the paperwork. I failed you, but that cone test was set up for a different vehicle layout for a car towing a trailer. Oh, so you can rectify this? No, because the paperwork's already been done. Stitched up. Second time I failed the test was actually my fault. I was so annoyed with the first time round that I just wasn't concentrating, and I just had too many minors. No majors, just too many minors. And the third time round, I literally pulled my finger out like that, and I managed to get the entire test done with only 4 minors, which I believe is quite a good result for even a regular driving test, let alone buses. But I passed it third time round, so not everyone's perfect. I'm far from it in that respect. So, you know, I mean, driving a bus does make you a better driver in general, because driving a bus is difficult. But I actually prefer driving a bus to driving a car. But it's funny because once you get your bus license, you end up picking up on other people's bad driving more than you did before you got your bus license, because you are aware of what people are doing wrong, especially because you're sitting such high up. You can actually see even more mistakes that these people are making. But you know, it's just one of those things, really. I would encourage everyone, if you have a driving license and you're at a bit of a loose end, apply to be a bus driver. All you have to do is pass. They pay for your driving instruction, and all they ask really is that you work for them for a year. Everyone should do it at least once. You know, be a bus driver for 1 year, see how you like it. If you don't like it, move on. But that license is yours forever, and you don't pay for it. They pay you to train. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? I was lucky to pass it a little above. Read that already. They just have been chatting about EU blocking vaccines, block on TV. Yeah, it's annoying, Sarah. They're literally blocking what we have a right to because we paid for it and we got in there first. I feel sorry for EU citizens, really. I really, really do, because they're literally living in the middle of a dictatorship. It's sad. The 66 I got home that day was scarily busy. Yeah, the thing is, it's difficult because if you are on a bus that is overcrowded and you know how far you have left, I mean, they say if you have to travel in excess of 6 miles to and from wherever you're going, if your bus is crowded and you know you're about halfway, let's just say you've got about 3 or 4 miles left, I would encourage you, if you can, to get off that bus and walk the rest of the way. 4 miles takes approximately 1 hour and 10 minutes at a moderate pace. Yeah, that's all I can say. At just over 2 to 3 miles per hour, it takes 4 miles takes just over an hour and 10 minutes. Um, so there you go. Plus, it's good for your health. Just if you can avoid getting on a bus at all, then avoid getting on it. In Medway, you are not allowed to stand up in the bus. There was a dopey twerp who stood up, and he was too close to me. I had to talk to him about it. Do you know Medway? Do you know what? I believe that's close to Gillingham, isn't it, Medway? And if that is the place I'm thinking of, I actually took my test close to there in, is it Gillingham? I think so. There's a VOSA test centre down there, and I took my test down there somewhere. Let's have a look at some of these comments again. Luton Bus Spotter's doing really well in the comments today. Arjan, good morning to you. Really appreciate you joining me. I haven't forgotten about you. You were the last person there. Yeah, Medway's in Gillingham. Yeah, see, I took my test down there, Sarah. Sit back down next time the team's moved up. Yeah, you know what? Luton Bus Spotter, as long as you know you're doing the right thing, let other people be stupid. That's all I can suggest, is let other people be stupid around you. Sorry, I am reading. It's difficult because I haven't got my glasses on. I can't focus. Yeah, just Luton, just do what you do and do it well. Be the sensible person. Don't ever get sucked in by other people's stupidity. I remember I was at Newbury Park Station and the 296 literally only let on one person on because it was full. I can't lie, I've been guilty of this before, long before COVID, long before any kind of illnesses that I had. If my bus was full, which means to me, as I'm sitting here, from my shoulder backwards, or no, let me get this straight. As I'm sitting here, at the bus, in the bus, I'm losing my words. From this shoulder backwards is passenger space. From my shoulder forwards, all of it is mine. This area in front is known as the platform, for those of you who don't know. And I will never, ever, ever have passengers standing on the platform for a few different reasons. One is it's literally a case of health and safety. If I'm in an accident, everyone standing behind you is going to be flung forward, and the person at the front of this little queue is going to end up getting squashed up against the assault barrier or the glass. A lot of bus companies in the UK don't have that, but you're going to end up getting stuck against the glass, and the weight of 15 people equates to roughly 1 ton. So if you've got about 30 people standing up downstairs like sardines, and they all get thrown forward and they hit you at the front, you're basically getting crushed by 2 ton of people. You are going to die. That's a reason. Secondly is, obviously, it is against the law to be standing that close, because it just is. If I get caught by the cops, they stop me for whatever their ridiculous reason is, I can get 3 points on my license just for having you stand on the platform. Not a lot of people know that. So there's that, and obviously it's a distraction. I don't want to have people from here forwards. For me, it's a distraction. I don't want to be looking into your ear. I don't want to be seeing what you're eating, what you're not supposed to be on the bus. I don't want to be hearing your conversations. Just move down the bus, go upstairs, sit down, whatever. Don't do it at the front. And I've been known to say, look, I'm terribly sorry. The bus is full. I'm going to open the rear doors and let people off. Count how many people get off the bus, and then the amount of people that get off the bus, let that amount of people on. Some people will take the pee and try and get on the back door. In that case, you just say, look, you got on the back door. You're supposed to get on the front. Please come to the front and pay your fare. Thank you. Or better yet, please leave the bus. The entrance is at the front. These people were waiting patiently. You're taking the mick. Please leave. It is really difficult situation how to deal with people a lot of the time. You really have got a fine line which you do not cross in regards to customer service and how you deal with people. But again, firm but fair. There you go. I remember watching you when you were streaming on YouTube back when you first started, said Jack Hammond. Yeah, so did I, walking along with a camera. I still do it from time to time. I've done it a couple of days ago. I think I've done it yesterday. Did I do it yesterday? I think I did. Talking about cold callers. That's really bugging me, is cold callers at the moment. Because I'm getting it all the time. My son's getting it all the time. But watch that video if you haven't already yet. Facebook, rather. Yeah, do you know what? Even YouTube. Oh, it was Chris's Walk and Talk on Facebook. I actually deleted that. It's not on Facebook anymore. I found that once I'd done YouTube well outweighed Facebook in regards to that. Yeah, agree, Chris. Can't see a mirror on the near side, so big safety aspect. Yeah, you got that as well. I didn't even think of that. That's how long it's been since I've driven a bus. It's been a year. It has actually been a year. Arriva Medway. There, yes, true. When are you doing live stream? London Decker and Double Decker Anton? That is a very good question, and I will gladly do a live stream with either one of those amazing fellows when they are both free. And although we're in a group chat, it's difficult trying to get a response out of either of them, especially if they're busy and they don't get a chance to check their phone very often. But as and when they're both off at the same time as myself, and they have time to do said live, I'd quite happily do that whenever they're ready. It's not a problem. What do you think of mirrorless buses? I think they're a really bad idea, Arjan. And this is the last question I'm going to take because I have got to go. Mirrorless buses, I don't like the idea of them. The reason why I don't like the idea of mirrorless buses is because you can't adjust them, for one. You can't get that camera on a small motor and move it up and down, left or right. I believe they call it PTZ, pan, tilt, zoom, or just pan and tilt. You can't do that on those. They're also literally here and here. Hang on, wait, yeah, there. You know, because whereas you've got a mirror system, I have to do that. I like looking right and I like looking left. I like doing this with mirrors because I can also see what's outside, you know, how close I am to the curb, not just by using the mirror, but by looking out the door. For me, I like knowing everything that's around me when I'm driving. The mirrorless buses with the cameras have a camera here and they have a monitor here and a monitor here, just for example, yeah? And you're not doing the full motion to look everywhere. You're literally just doing that. You're not looking around the entire bus. You're looking at a screen and you're at the mercy of the cameras. And obviously, if the cameras get dirty, you can't really do much for cleaning them. If the cameras don't work, then obviously the bus doesn't leave the garage. Or if one of those cameras becomes faulty during your trip and you can't see, you don't drive. It's as simple as that. If that camera or monitor is faulty at any point, you pull the bus over into a safe place that is legal to park, transfer your passengers accordingly, and call the garage. Because I'm pretty sure there is a way of getting an actual physical mirror on top of that in case they do fail. They have to have a contingency. But if those electric mirrors don't work, do not drive the bus. Do not take chances with your license, with passengers' lives, and other people. I think they're absolutely stupid and they shouldn't be a thing. So, anyway, I am going to go. I really appreciate everyone watching this morning. It really means a lot to me that you actually spend time listening to my dulcet tones. So, I'm going to say it again. Enjoy your Monday. If you've joined me for the first time, please, if you like what you see, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're going out, be careful, social distance, wear a mask, wash your bum. I'm only joking. No, have a shitty bum. But no, have a wonderful day. Take it easy, everyone. Love you lots. Goodbye. Mwah.